The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's brought to you with Levi Solicitors, who will not only offer you a 10% discount on legal fees for you, personal law, and for your business as well. You can get 15%, Michael, on
Will's Probate Conveyancing.
Will's Probate Conveyancing, which has actually become your catchphrase, hasn't it? People are saying it to you at Elland Road.
Yeah, it's not quite nice to see you nice or anything, but it's, it sticks. I'm going to try and do some T-shirts with it on a thing. I'm going to branch out into my own line of merch.
15% on Will's Probate and Conveyancing if you have a look at the Phil Hay Monday Club either on YouTube or in your podcast app. Details of the extra discount over on that one. Moscow, you want to hawk off the shirts?
Yeah, that's the back of it this time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think we show people the back enough. Look at that, just a big, pure block of proper yellow
Could be from
shirt.
1992, could that, looking at the back of it?
Yeah, the fabric design is not dissimilar, far enough apart to avoid any kind of legal repercussions. So it's there's the front again. You've seen the front. Have another look at it.
This is our
feel the quality as well.
Square Ball Admiral collab, which you can get on our website, and if you remember, you can get a discount on that as well.
10% discount.
Yeah, before middle of June. Exact date is on there. Part 3 of the show. Then let's do that.
Badges embroidered, by the way, as well.
Let's do part 3 of the show now, then, which is heroes and villains. Thank you. Ken Bates' Villain of the Week award is first. We sometimes subdivide this off into petty grievances, genuine candidates, others. Leading candidates this time. I mean, I just want to avoid all this, but Bamford's been nominated. The Bamford abusers have been nominated. Yeah, great.
People have been nice to Bamford though. They've said, look, he's just not very good at scoring goals at the moment. Yeah, and I'm sad about that. Fine. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. It's all right to say that. It's part of. I'm sure they didn't have the medium to say it, but I'm sure back in the 1919 people were looking at who was up front at that point, Moscow, and going...
Well, nobody, because we've been put out of business and Paul Vale had taken our place in the league.
1920.
When it started again, when they eventually managed to get a game together.
Tom Jennings will have missed a few on his way to being our record goal scorer.
Fucking useless he was.
Wasn't he? And yeah, I think a villain nomination is absolutely fine because you can't miss a penalty that would have made a big difference in our battle against relegation. Expect anybody to say thank you. You're going to be annoyed about it. But so this is why we have this... We have these rails around this, so this is where we are annoyed.
We might just talk about Furpo as well at this point as well, just for
these are the bumpers, aren't they? On
described as
the bowling alley,
a glass cannon leaving destruction in all directions.
Furpo
is what Sir Richard of Castleford described him as.
I love that.
Yeah, he had a bit of a chaotic game, didn't he?
You see, when it's couched in humour, fine. We're having a laugh. We're celebrating the condition of being a Leeds fan, aren't we? Here, that's what it is.
So that's covering off the Leeds ones. Let's criticise a dickhead ref, who we'll get onto the ratings. Pleased to say, as he should have been, the natural order of things, player ratings, dickhead ref, bottom of the list this week. Good.
Yeah, Hooper refereed the Luton-Sunderland playoff second leg.
Oh, did he?
He did, yeah.
Well, there you go. Did he do a good job of it?
No, probably not.
Did he referee each half with a different set of rules, as he did in this one? Where he just sort of gave everything. I'm going to give free kicks for everything in the first half, and then second half, I'll see how I feel.
What is interesting is that when you watched the more robust approach in the Championship, that he let a load of that stuff go. Stuff I know he would have blown up for in the Premier League. It's like they're refed by different standards. It's weird.
Yeah, I think that's what was kind of annoying about him on Saturday was every little foul. It was almost, I mean, this seems a little bit like I'm very much buying into the spearmint smell that is coming from our technical area, but like he was reffing a Big Sam team, like, because we obviously went to be very physical from the beginning. I think there were like 2 pretty rough tackles in the first couple of minutes, and every single one of them was a foul. Whereas nice Eddie Howe, his young gentlemen who were out there upholding Corinthians standards, every time they did a similar foul, it was kind of 50-50 as to whether it was going to be a free kick or not. And it did seem like he had the message, I'm not going to let Allardyce's crew away with any of this. And then, when you go into a Championship playoff semi-final, Luton versus Sunderland, going to be physical. Go for it, lads. Don't care. And it did get a bit wild, some of that towards the end last night.
Did you see some of the VAR transcriptions and video clips that were doing the rounds this week? They're just winging it, aren't they?
Yeah.
All of them are just winging it.
They chose to show some quite straightforward ones where they got it right as well, rather than the ones where they're going, I don't know. I've no fucking idea. You can't tell, can you? Is he? I don't know. Is he fouled him? I don't know. He touches him a bit.
Which is why they've got the get out of jail free cards in the sense of what's the wording in it? Obvious, clear and obvious error or whatever it is.
Yeah, I still don't really understand that definition. I heard
it's just wriggle room, isn't it?
What's he called? The guy who's selling this on Sky. Howard Webb was trying to explain why I think he was using the Luke Ayling one at Wolves when Johnny from the Fine Young Cannibals song went through his
I'm sorry?
Legs. Johnny. You remember Johnny?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, has he
come home? Yeah.
He went home to the changing rooms when he got red carded. And he was saying that they want to intervene on those because those are clear and obvious. They can make a decision. Whereas they won't intervene on the ones that are that might be just a difference of opinion.
But then sometimes they do. Because you can look at things that certainly to the sort of supporter's eye you would go, well, in that game the VAR to take a long look at this, and they sent the ref over to look at it. In this game, seemingly the same thing has happened, but whoever's on VAR has gone, yeah,
probably
fine,
right,
it's fine, just carry on.
Yeah, and that's why I don't buy it. That's why I still don't think that the clear and obvious thing is a useful thing. It should just be. I mean, I think I've said this a 1,000 times now. The linesman has the responsibility that if they see something that the referee doesn't, they can wave a flag and say there was a foul there. I could see it, you couldn't. Why don't you just give the same powers to whoever it is watching the telly? It's go like, right, I've just seen a replay, and use common sense so you can't be like, oh, that thing 5 minutes ago you should have blown for. But if you instantly spot something and the referee doesn't blow his whistle, or you have a replay straight away and you see what actually happened, just down the marathon, that should have been a free kick. You've not to every free kick level, but you've missed that. That was a handball. Give the handball. That should have been a red card, not a yellow. But instead of worrying about was it a big enough mistake that we have to intervene, it's just like, I could see that, you couldn't. Here's the right decision from my point of view, and give that.
I'm thinking of those ones where like a keeper tips a shot around the post and the ref gives a goal kick, but everyone and the person watching it would have gone, no, it's a corner, change that. You can do it within seconds, but it's going, well, it's not. That doesn't meet the threshold for a big game-changing moment, but then you're allowing something to stand that literally everyone watching it has gone.
Or if it goes the other way, where they give a corner, it should be a dead ball and team scores from it.
And I know it's not always obvious. If it's one of those where like two players have gone up for a header and it sort of comes off each of them, whatever.
Are you saying there should be a rule of clear and obvious?
But if you're watching it, you can just go, no, you've that's obviously stupid. Yeah. You've made a mistake. I mean, I get rid of the whole thing. is my solution to it.
Yeah,
let people make mistakes.
Well, it's a discussion we'll have again. I'm absolutely positive. Mind you, there is no proper VAR in the Championship, so if we do go down, they've just got the goal line technology, which I saw at Luton, and it was delightfully sort of Spectrum 8-bit in terms of its graphics.
This is where the discussion should be on VAR. Holly says the ref bald wanker. No offence, Michael. That's what the referee should be.
Yeah, and to extend it into one of the Newcastle nominations, Anthony Gordon, who's just been picked out just for his face and his demeanour.
Yeah, looks like he's out of an 80s teen movie. Villain Central casting, says Wisconsin Todd.
Is he ever going to be any good, do you think?
No, I don't think so.
Anthony Gordon,
fortune
he's a good footballer. He's talented.
He's all right. He spends a lot of time rolling about.
Oh, don't they all these days, though?
Yeah, but you can't get away with it with his face.
Yeah, fair point. Apart from that, we've got Lampard and Chelsea getting nominated.
Beheady Howe and the sports washing bastards.
Beheady Howe, sorry. Yeah,
he got a nomination too.
Is he nominated for being attacked?
He was a little shove on it. It's fine.
The full quote on that, the thing about trying to entertain the nation, was a bit rich. Like, just in what do you think you're actually doing? It's a game of football. Oh, we're out here, trying to restore everybody's save it. It's the bit from the end of Singing in the Rain where the actress tries to do a speech when she's won an award. It's like, oh, if we can bring some pleasure into your humdrum lives, then that's our joy. And it's like Eddie Howe's out there. It's like, oh, all we're trying to do is just make the people feel happier because the nation needs Leeds versus Newcastle. I mean, I don't think even Leeds and Newcastle fans fucking got any enjoyment out of that game. It was dreadful by the end of it.
Is it just buying into that thing? I think it probably comes from Keegan era where they're like, Aye, it's like the theatre that was up here. It's all we got to see, man.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Like,
when they drag themselves out of the mines or shipbuilding
yeah,
yards,
that was always a bit of a cliche of that time.
And well, Sky do tend to lean into it still. But
we don't go to the Bally Lake. We just go to watch Kevin's boys play.
But it's worth remembering, whatever Newcastle do going forward, whatever Eddie Howe has them doing, his intention at all times is to entertain the nation. So that's the standard that we need to be holding them to. So if they ever do put up, as they typically do, some dog shit 0-0 draw with Crystal Palace on a fucking Monday night match on telly, then we can ask, somebody should ask Eddie that in the post-match press conference. So Eddie, do you want to explain to me how your lineup today was supposed to entertain the nation?
Maybe he's entertaining the nation of Saudi Arabia. His Tory mate Frank got a nomination, as I mentioned before, and Chelsea
he entertains the nation.
Mentioned as well.
Keeps
Chelsea
me quite happy
for just not doing what should be done under these circumstances and helping us, quite frankly. Right, who's your villain of the week?
Give it to the ref.
Yeah, if he'd never given us that penalty, Bamford wouldn't have missed it, would he?
And penalties are stupid as well. There's no way that Firpo thing deserves a penalty. They weren't scoring from that.
No, that's true.
We've said about this earlier. I can't remember what context we discussed this in. The area for penalties needs to be loads smaller.
Yeah.
Stupid.
A little circle.
It distorts games in a way that it doesn't deserve to.
But it needs to be still big enough that when Rasmus Christensen got punched by Wolves goalkeeper on the opening day,
yeah,
that should have been given. Because that's still annoying. I'm trying to work out who the referee was for that, because I bet it was...
You'll be able to see on the Premier League website.
I'll have a look.
So we're picking a winner there in the form of the ref.
Yeah.
Fine. A quick dive into the scores from that game and player of the year. So the player of the match for that one, Forshaw, Ayling just tucked in behind him, so it was 7.2 and 7.18. Then it tapers down to our lowest scorer, Junior, Pat, Brendan, etc., as we climb upwards. Junior was 3.19, the lowest scorer. Dickhead referee, 2.61.
Good. Bottom.
And Big Sam got 6.54, which is standing in well in terms of the Manager of the Year competition.
I mean, it is a competition this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people
Lots
in the mix.
of candidates, yeah.
A lot of people in the mix.
Tyler Adams still on for Player of the Year by virtue of the fact of being injured. Same goes for Dan James, except he's on loan.
Dan James now up into second.
He's in the silver medal position.
He is currently at Fulham and carrying a hamstring injury, possibly out for the rest of the year. But
apart from that,
could still be our our second best player of the year according to the averages.
Yeah, and then it's Willie, Max, Mateus Click in 5th place. Sam Allardyce actually up in about 6th or 7th there with a 6.24. It's not been a great season, has it?
It was Robert Jones was the penalty, the referee against Wolves, the former Liverpool right back. Right.
The Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week award. Candidates, please. Leeds candidates, we've got Forshaw, Rasmus, Allardyce, Ayling, Jackie Firpo, Robles, and Pat Bamford.
I mean, Firpo's nomination, we should say, is from Zach of Oz, who says describes him as the busiest man in football, created 3 penalties in one match and got sent off. What an entertainer.
And we're in the business of entertaining the nation.
Yeah. It is. Team full of Firpos.
Yeah. I said before, he's a free spirit. You can't control the man, can you? He does what he wants to do. It's performance art. Non-Leeds candidates, the ball boy that threw the ball in Callum Wilson's face when he got subbed, great value. Thanks to Holly for that nomination. And Nathan wants to nominate our Rob because he chatted to him at the 21. No, Rob's not having it. He's not here. So he's not having it.
He's dreadful as well.
Yeah, don't be fooled by his polite demeanour.
Refuses to speak to us.
Finally, then the other nomination is for fans as well. The fact that Leeds and Newcastle fans united, as it were, around the Gary Speed song, which was very, very good from 2 sets of what you might call legacy fans.
It was a good atmosphere in general, wasn't it?
Yeah, so. It was a nice moment. It was a nice reminder that certain things just transcend all the daftness and the finger pointing and the shite, like the Savile chants and all that. You know, it's good to know that there's a bit of good sense in there.
They seem to have died out a bit, you know.
Do they?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm imagining it, but I realise because it was only when I've been on the gantry, I've been above the away fans.
Hang on, been a while.
Been above the away fans and next to the south stand, so I've been getting all of that, and it was only as everybody was leaving on Saturday that the last sort of dregs of the Newcastle fans who were still in suddenly started up with a bit of Savile, and the people, there were only about a handful of people still in the south stand kind of cheered and waved and shouted "fuck off," and I just occurred to me, I haven't actually heard that song in a game unless I've just been ignoring it. So
I'm sure it was sung in the last game before that. Who did
I
play
don't know.
it
Maybe I'm imagining it, or maybe I'm wishing it were, but it did seem like I'd normally, you because it gets sung by the away fans and South Stand responds and it registers. But yeah, I just had the thought on Saturday that it hadn't been happening. I guess maybe minds have been elsewhere.
Busy with other stuff.
Yeah, that's a good old relegation battle. Focuses the mind on more important matters.
The other thing is that Jimmy Savile has nothing to do with Leeds as well. So, and it's like 10 years ago probably now since all the stuff came out. So it's becoming less relevant, I suppose, isn't it?
We'll get tired of these things eventually.
Right then.
But we're not tired of Adam Forshaw, even if he is very tired.
Is he your leading candidate for this?
Then? Well, I mean, it's not going to be Firpo, is it?
No, he's had his moment in the sun, hasn't he? This season, he's reverted to type now.
Yeah,
so.
I suppose Robles was quite mad.
I enjoyed his taking it right up to the line. I found that very, very in the sense of nearly getting sent off.
Well, Luca B has highlighted his sharp teeth.
It's good. I think you need a goalkeeper with sharp teeth.
Yeah, good.
For
me, actually, Robles might be it for me. I think.
He worried me a bit.
But I enjoyed that.
I was begging him to stop.
No, but I enjoyed it. Like,
do you enjoy being taken to the edge, do you?
I very, very
Did
much.
you enjoy when he came out to challenge for loose ball and Christensen got there first, and then Robles just stood there, like almost as if he wanted to argue with him while the game was still going on.
Yeah, but in the same way that I'm really looking forward to this West Ham game, I was saying in the preview section, because you're alive. This is what it's all about. Living on the edge like that, living dangerously.
All right, I'm going to test you now.
Flirting with madness.
Melier back in goal for the West Ham game. How do you feel about that now?
I'd be fine with either way with it. I'd be absolutely fine. But
I
enjoyed what Robles provided. I thought he put on a show.
While we are salvaging the reputations of some of our players away from the social media opinions, because after the Manchester City game when Sam Allardyce said that Melier wasn't happy about being dropped, obviously lots of people online were kicking off about that. But I noticed him in the dugout on Saturday. Was having a nice time cheering his teammates on. He likes pounding the roof of the dugout. He used to do that before he got in the team. He was like, he was the massive cheerleader. And at some point...
do that as a fan and they'll throw you out. Double standards.
Adam Forshaw changed his shirt at some point shortly after he came on. And
he took his base layer off, didn't he? It was too warm, I think.
Yeah, well, his shirt was thrown to the side and he had a new one. And the one he'd taken off, Melier grabbed that and threw it into the West Stand behind. So he's not sulking. He's not sitting there in a big, like, I think when Allardyce said, he was trying to say, well, nobody would be happy about being dropped, and the attention that Melier got for that was a little bit extreme. Because you always put that on goalkeepers as well, because like nobody's asked how Brendan Aronson took to being dropped, have they? And he could have been dismantling door frames at Thorpe Arch on the daily ever since that happened, although I imagine we would probably see more damage to him than to the doors if he'd been trying any of that stuff. But yeah, I think the mood from Melier looked to be reconciled to what's going on.
Right. You mentioned the removing of shirts there. Have we covered the reason Jack Harrison was nominated for his rippling torso? That was the future Mr. Harrison was nominated for that. He's in very good nick, is Jack Harrison, I have to say.
And he
spends a lot of his free time just doing gym stuff, doesn't he? Away from... He does football all day, then he gets home. What are you going to do? Just do some running, lift some weights.
You could tell in the Newcastle game as well, he was being very diligent because all his crosses were being fired in low, and that's different. And I think it was I think Allardyce must have told him, that's what I want. I want low crosses in the 6-yard box. Pat might be there. We'll worry about that part separately. But he was very committed to doing that every time. And I think that's the thing with Jack Harrison is he's one of those footballers he'll do his best to do what he's been asked to do at all times. And he'll keep doing it because he's really, 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 really fucking fit.
Who's your hero of the week?
Give it to Adam Forshaw. Yep. As Chris says, old and knackered and somehow our only decent midfielder.
Yeah, he's still he's carrying the flag, isn't he? Very much so, still flying the flag. All right, I'm up for that. Want him to be everywhere and do everything, and that's why we love him, what we want to see. Love it. Okay, congratulations, Adam Forshaw. Good luck next year. Would we keep him if we went down?
Would we keep him if we stayed up? It's hard to know because the problem with Adam Forshaw is, when you've been as injured as he has, can you ever actually prove your fitness? Or will, even a year in of being fit, of playing 40 games in a row, do people still go, but he'll be out at some point? Like it's very hard, isn't it, to know what to do with someone who's been as broken as that.
There's the balance of what he would want from his role in the future as well. Does he want to try and play 40 games, or would he be happy being a squad member? And if he is, then I think he's, we made the mistake in retrospect with Hernandez and Brady and Alioski all going at the same time. And there is some value in just having people around the place who are just good at, turning up.
Has legs, sometimes work.
And if we keep Allardyce next year, you don't need a midfield, do you?
No, exactly.
Fair enough, yeah. Right, we'll wrap it up there then. Congratulations, Adam Forshaw, for our Hero of the Week candidacy. Next week's show should be interesting. Looking forward to that. Plenty more on the way between now and then. Match ball in the wake of the West Ham game.
Yep, looking forward to that.
Down to business. We'll speak to you soon.
The Square Ball Podcast.